What's up, you guys? Welcome to part 2 and 3 of making a track from scratch. There was a little issue with part 2 yesterday. I went on I made a YouTube Hangout live event, and I streamed it online on YouTube, and there was just a lot of technical issues with that video. The audio was kind of bad, so in the live stream you could only hear through my microphone what was playing out Ableton, so that was a big technical thing I couldn't fix yesterday, and the stream kept dropping in and out, and so there was just problems with it, and YouTube in the end did not upload it. So it was on my channel for like a few minutes, and then YouTube took it down, so which is fine because I was going to do the same thing either way. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit into what I did yesterday, and I'm just going to proceed today. I'm not going to talk as much. I'm just going to really work, and when I feel like I need to explain things, I will. And if you want to leave a like or comment or a question about anything you see, then go ahead and do that. Other than that, yesterday's live stream was probably it was an hour long, but more than half the time I was just answering questions and just trying to get it to all run. So I didn't get a lot done yesterday on the stream anyway, but I do like streaming, but through YouTube I still have a lot of troubleshooting and errors there. So maybe on Ustream or something like that, another streaming service, I will do AMAs, which means Ask Me Anything. So anywho, I'm just gonna show you so far what I've done. I've kind of changed the arrangement a bit. I've added in some synths that I think I could work around and make it work. So this is what I have so far. So I'm kind of starting to make this a little bit of a intro, and I'm gonna have my arrangement work in like 4-bar segments, but every 8 bars is it's gonna be a part for me. So the first 8 bars here, which is highlighted, that's kind of like my beginning intro, and I'm dividing that into 4 bars each. So just the general little first riff, I guess I would say. And then, the drums come in, and then the next 8 bars after that up to bar 16 will be, I guess, a build up to a verse. So I'm going to make all that happen, and I'm just going to work. And another thing, this is kind of like not really a tip, but this is something I just like to do when writing music. I like to have like sunflower seeds and like something to drink near me. I just like to be eating food. I feel like just eating while you're producing just helps you just I don't know, come up with things. So there's that whole taboo of like some people just like to focus and shit. I like to be totally relaxed and just like to kind of get in a comfy mood to write. And I don't know, some people like to smoke weed and drink and all that stuff before or after they write. That's cool. I don't find that to be really productive, because when I do either of those, I get really lazy. So I don't really, I don't do that in my house anyway. I do that when I'm out on the weekends. But yeah, if that's your thing, then I guess you need some snacks anyway and get some food. So enough of the stupid talk, and I'm gonna just start working on this. Oh, and there was this thing on the Ustream, on the live stream yesterday, where I would open up silent or massive, and my viewers could not see it. So this was like invisible. So I was tweaking knobs on the live stream, and it just looked like I was doing this. I was pretty much just turning knobs, but all they could see was Ableton's interface, and they could not see silence when I opened it. So that's another reason why that video from yesterday is not up on my channel. So I'm gonna try and make this sound a little bit better. I don't really know how I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna kind of just create a loop around it, pressing Command L, and just gonna make it work. Okay. Need to mix it down. It's a little bit too loud. Let me see what dB it's playing at anyway. Yeah, that's a bit loud. Negative 8 or 9 dB is kind of loud, especially because I want my drums to be that loud in the mix. So if I just solo my drums and play them, that would be helpful too. And unsoloed it. I want my drums, my kicks to be peaking around negative 8 dB by itself, so I can't really have a synth sound and the kicks be at the same decibel level. That just that creates a little bit of amplitude confliction. So I'm gonna bring this down probably like 3 dB or so quieter, maybe 5 dB quieter than 8 dB. So I'm not even turning the right one. So let's see, 5 dB quieter than that would be like 8 dB. And from here, I'm just going to feel out the amplitude. I'm not really trying to mix it. I'm just really kind of trying to get the levels to sit nicely with each other so I can kind of craft the song to the way that I will probably mix it in. So I like it to sound good as I'm working on it. I feel like it's a bit busy with all this percussion. Also, I muted this sample. Maybe if I took off this thing right here. Let me see. And I should probably remind you guys that I will give you guys this session after each of these videos, so you guys could follow along too if you want. Let me see. I'm not really liking this sample. This sample was cool. This the one I grabbed from Ableton, but I'm not really liking how much space it takes up. It's a good idea, but you know, you have to learn to kind of take out the things that aren't working. So, you know, writing a song is a lot of trial and error. You just gotta cut your losses early on. If something's not working, just throw it away. Don't even think about it. Just throw it away. You know, don't try to salvage garbage, you know. Okay. This could use some tweaking. Let me zoom in a bit. I'm gonna make a little 2-bar loop of this first part. So I'm just gonna press Command E and shorten the part of this so I can just look at that. Okay. And again, if you hear me eating sunflower seeds and drinking soda, that's just because that's how I like to write. So I apologize if I sound disgusting. Eating my food next to a microphone. I'm going to go into triplet grids. I like working with triplet grids. So you just press Command 3 and you go into a triplet grid. And it just gives you nice offbeat variations. well, not really offbeat, but it's just a smaller grid that's lets you write in triplets. So you know what I mean. That's interesting. Not that one, maybe this one. I guess that one would be the one. Let me go off the triplet grid for a sec. I'll kind of line these up with the 16th note. Oh, I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. I think I could shorten this just to 1 bar and use that. I'm very minimalistic. I like to just keep things very minimal. Okay. So now I want to copy this stuff. Let me see what octave I was working in here. So this is a C2. So if I consolidate all this stuff right here, this should work for me. So let me see. I like bringing up the glide on these kind of, I guess what I would call like a mid-bass type of sound. Has like that clubby kind of vibe. And I want to thank all you guys who liked the other video and left nice comments and send me nice messages. I'm glad you guys liked it. That's why I do it, you know, for you guys. So thanks for that. Just throwing that out there because that's what's popping up into my mind. I think of weird things when I'm just kind of writing. It's kind of like the part of the day where I get to relieve stress from writing other people's music. I get stressed out by writing other people's music, that when I get to finally just go into a blank Ableton session and just start making things, it makes me very chill. Okay, so I'm going to group these two because I'm going to want to solo them together. I'm going to need to throw in a filter. Yeah, I'm going to start throwing in filters because I like to have auto filters. So I'm going to throw an auto filter onto the group. I'm going to throw an auto filter onto, actually I'm not going to do that for this top silent. I'm going to just throw EQ there and cut out some low frequency. So I'm going to kind of just high pass everything beneath 240 or 250 hertz. And the reason why I do that is because everything underneath 250 hertz is technically the low range, and if it's not a kick or a bass, you want to high pass it unless there's some crucial like parts and elements and frequencies and harmonics that are happening in that lower end frequency. Then, you know, try to cut as much low end as you can. But you know, there's one rule to mixing, and it's you can't make everything big. So if you want to make your kick the biggest thing ever, you're gonna have to make your synths a little bit pulled back and a little bit quieter, or not quieter, but you just can't, you know, make it as loud as a kick. You know, if everything's big, then it clashes. So with mixing, you have to pick, or sound designer writing a song, you have to pick what element is driving that moment, and you have to make that the biggest thing, and then learn how pull things back. So that took me a long time to figure out. You know, in the beginning, everything was either really loud or really quiet. So I kind of figured out I guess. Well, I'm still always making my stuff better and better through musical discovery and things like that. But I've learned a bit more how to kind of choose what to make big and what not to make big. So throwing an EQ onto a synth like this is kind of like that. And let me see, I can kind of boost it. I think this would sound cool with the vinyl distortion. So when I'm writing stuff, I'm just kind of all over the place, just working in like contained little loops, and I'm soloing the things I'm working on so I can listen to it by itself. So what I like to do with the vinyl distortion is kind of just play around with this. That's cool. That added in a bit more of what I wanted. I think this should be very mono because it's so bassy, or it's very mid bass like. So I'm gonna probably kill the width to 50%, and I'm gonna do pretty much the exact opposite with the top layer, and I'm just going to make that like 50% more wide, so it's more further out in my stereo field. I'll press this and compensate for the width, because when you add width to something, it loses volume. At least it appears that way. And I'm going to try and make it, I'm going to try and match the volume that it was playing at before I added it on the utility. So it's kind of the same volume before and after when I turn this off. Except now it just sounds wider. Okay, so I need to EQ this bottom one a bit. And I'm gonna cut out a little bit of low frequency here too, because it's very kind of more low mid. See, you would a lot of producers would think that a sound like this lives down here, but it really doesn't. You know, the kicks will drive this area. Alright. Maybe to me, just I'm getting a little sick of this pattern. So if I start to get sick of listening to something on a closed loop, then I know that it's not ready. It's not good enough. Cause you know it's good if you don't get sick of listening to it in a loop like this. So that's why I like to keep my sections in very small pieces, and I should be able to listen to it and not get sick of listening to it. So if I play this over and over, I like that by itself, but I think something about this bottom one, listening to it by itself over and over, I guess I like both of them separately, but together I don't think they're working. So I need to find a way to either change one of these or try and make it work, or if I can't get it to work within like a few minutes, I'm just gonna trash it. So let me see how I'm doing on time here. Okay, been doing 20 minutes. Okay. I guess just making one of them slightly quieter will help. So I'm just going to press Command D and make another copy of this. And I'm gonna turn this off, swap this for some massive, because I want a sub bass there. I want to bring back some of that low end to maybe drive this section. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my folder. I already know where I have one of my sub bass patches. Now I'm gonna take off chorus and just add some tube. Let me see. There's a way to reset all the. I think if you right click on a EQ, you can reset all the gains. So that leveled it all out. And this right here is still peaking because it's not a notch Q. It's sort of a pass. So it'll still be. It doesn't really have a gain level. It sort of just has like a frequency and a Q. As you can see, there's no gain associated to this. So let me see, at 70 or 60 hertz, I'm at negative 6 dB, so that's still kind of a lot for this sound. I think this is just again annoying, this thing up here. So I need to fix that a bit. I think that's what's bugging me. I probably need to lower this too. It's not really playing low notes. So I'm gonna just, okay. That sub kind of makes a big difference if I take it out. Subs are meant to be felt and not really heard, so I kind of want to find that nice fine line of having the sub add a feeling but not really being heard. So I think this is way too loud. This is kind of adding in a lot of noise I don't like. So let's go back. The reason why I kind of lowered this is because it was kind of distracting. It was kind of too present, and I once heard good advice from a really famous audio engineer to remove distractions from your mix. So if there are things that are kind of just, I don't know, unnecessary, but they're just kind of supposed to be in the background, then they should be in the background. Kind of like a under, what's it called? Like a beat under a beat sort of thing. I'll try to explain that better in another video. I kind of forgot what it's called, but it's a good mixing like idea. What the hell is this? I'm starting to forget what certain things were. Oh, weird. Oh, okay, so I was listening to a bounce of my kicks. So just for you guys to know, if you download this file, these two kicks are both plugins that you might or might not have. So it's Bassism and Kick by Sonic Academy. So you might not have these plugins, so I bounced out these two kicks together into this. So what you hear here is the combination of these two kicks. So this is kind of like a big sample. So it's supposed to be these two played together. So I'm going to turn this off while it's playing. Something else is... I'm going to bring this down a bit. It's a bit too loud. I think I'm gonna want to change up the pattern on this a bit. So I'm gonna do what I did with the other part and just sort of cut it and loop it. So I'm just gonna click on it, loop it, and I'm gonna do more crazy stuff to this. And I'm not even listening to it. Interesting. Not sold on that just yet, but now I'm gonna make a duplicate and loop that section by clicking and pressing Command down. I'm gonna play around with this one too, just giving myself some variation, some freedom to just create in this space. Not gonna give myself gridlock by not allowing myself to edit my own stuff. So I'm gonna zoom in a bit. Press Command 3 to give me my triplet grid. Let's that's interesting. Let's see. everything I'm making here is just gonna be kind of undercurrent. That's the word I was thinking of. An undercurrent means it's just something that I'm listening to loud right now, but it's gonna be mixed further down. It's just gonna be something that's played low, so I can put a lead over it. So I'm gonna put this really low. My kicks are a bit too punchy, or just not bassy enough. So I think what's bothering me is how high this beginning transient is. So I recommend getting a really good percussion sound first, so that way, oh sorry, excuse me, I burped a bit. So that way you're not tweaking your kicks all the time like how I do. So that's better. I like that better. So I'll rebounce these kicks for you guys, and you guys will get this one too. So I'll just keep making every variation I make to the kicks. I'll just keep bouncing out those. So I guess you'll get a bunch of kick samples when this is all over. What I'm trying to contemplate now is whether I should make this louder and not my undercurrent, and make my kicks softer. So I'm thinking about making my kicks softer so I could drive with this. So yeah, when I write, I just go a lot of back and forth in my head of like where to go. You know, the hardest thing, maybe not for some people, there's really two challenges when writing something. Either writing the first part and getting the song moving, or the other one is not being able to finish it. So for some people, they'll be able to write parts really fast and get ideas out quickly, but they just won't be able to finish it. And then some people will not be able to get any ideas out, and it'll take a really long time to finish it. So I guess one of those is worse than the other, but what usually takes longer is to get the idea out. But then you if you go about it thinking about what you're going to do step by step, you know, it develops more fluidly, and there's a higher success rate to that track being finishable. So, you know, it's not a good idea to always rush write. If things are pouring out of you, then, you know, get it down quickly, but by no means you should be trying to write fast intentionally. I'm gonna add in my sub after I've locked in this part. I don't need a sub right now. Once I figure out what this part will be, I will add in the sub. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not having a lot of love for this sound. It's not really working for me, so I'm just gonna go over here and maybe tweak it a bit more. Since it's a very mono sound, because I placed that to be mono, it shouldn't have a reverb. It doesn't need it at all. I figured it would be too crazy without the retriggers on. The retriggers keeps it so that every time a new note plays on the keyboard or in the MIDI, it goes back to the same starting point of the waveform, which means where it starts here. So by turning them off, I got a cooler sound, but it was just too unpredictable to work in a mix. But I can fix that with phasing, because phasing kind of moves around the position of where this is. Synthesizing phasing and mixing phasing, sorry, that's my phone, is not really the same thing. Someone just commented on my Facebook, no part 2 then, and I'm gonna write back to him right now. I'm doing that video right now. I'm doing that video as we speak. Lol. Oh, I wrote something wrong. So yeah, if you're that guy who just commented on that, you're gonna be seeing this video and having a good laugh. So I guess hashtag yourself in the comments. So damn it, dude, you made me lose my train of thought. Whatever, I'm just gonna keep working. Okay. I should really start putting my phone on silent. My phone always goes off when I'm doing these videos. Maybe I don't want this so mono. Well, maybe I can pan this one slightly to the left and this one slightly to the right. Since I'm cutting it so much, I'm gonna kind of bring back some feeling with vinyl distortion. So I'm gonna turn this off, bring drive halfway, and just... And now this is what I brought in this filter for, so now I'm gonna start doing this. So this is what I was saying, how I might use this as a lead or as an undercurrent. So now with the filter, it's kind of more of an undercurrent. So it's just something you hear, but it's not a lead. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to throw in a vinyl distortion after the filter. So it's just a cool way to, you know, distort the parts that still are left. So I'm just going to go ahead and push forward. Now I'm just going to start making this part longer. So I'm going to select, I'm going to take these off. I'm going to select this and copy it to bar 17. And now I'm going to kind of start building a transition. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now bring in a simpler. So I'm going to just go ahead and move into this sort of thing. And I'm just going to find a kick drum sample. So I'm going to use stock Ableton stuff. So let's see, snare. Snare. Okay, this is a good one. And now I'm going to create MIDI. So create Shift Command M. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to now go to C3, which is the root note. Damn it. Let me see this. C3. And I'm going to go into my, I'm just going to play 16 notes. Actually, I should probably do 8th notes first. So bam, 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 that's 8th notes. Now I'm gonna do 16th notes. And let me hear that. And I'm gonna lower this. Okay, so that's all good. So let's get this going on. And the reason why I use a simpler is because I can now start to transpose it around here. So let me see where that, maybe a little bit before that, maybe around here. Okay, so I'm gonna start selecting everything behind it, and I'm going to just go up 1. Every 4 beats I'll go up 1. So just like that. So let me see. Just like this. It takes a while. This is pretty much the quickest way to do it, but yeah, it still takes a while. So let me go back over here. I kind of want to put a little bit of a rhythm to this, so I'm going to press Command 3 to give me triplet grids and add some rhythm to this. So I'm going to try to make some of these notes shorter, and try. And then again, I'm just fooling around, seeing what I can come up with here. So let me see. Maybe something. Oh wait, that's exactly the same. something more like this. Maybe early over here. Okay, it's kind of messy, but maybe I can try something here. Copy this like that and save it like that. Yeah, no, that's way worse. Maybe something like this. Okay, that kind of is nice. So I'm just gonna zoom out and copy and paste it. And let me see. I'm at my 8th notes, so let me see. So I mean my 16th notes I meant. So now I'm gonna kind of do the same thing. I'm gonna spice this up the same way. So I'm gonna use this as a reference. I'm gonna copy it, just Option hold, and I'm just gonna put it over this region right here. So let me see. I got This kind of takes what I'm gonna try to do is get the same rhythm here, but just in a quicker time. Actually, there is a way I could do that with Ableton, I think. If I just get these, I think there's this cool MIDI feature. I haven't used it yet. Yeah, let's see if it does it. I think I can shorten it or make it faster. Yeah, that's sick. That's it. It works, but let me see. This is the regular size. These are playing. I wanted to play. This is playing like 8th notes, and I wanted to play 16th notes, so that should be halfway. But you know what? I'm making a big mistake here because I'm still in my triplet grid, so I need to go back to my regular, not triplet grid, and let's see. This might work better. Wow, it actually snapped when it was on a regular triplet grid. Okay, so I'm gonna undo it. I'm gonna put it back the way it was when it was on a triplet grid, because let me see. So Command 3, triplet grid, and there you go. So now I'm gonna try to just adopt some of the patterning I did here, but I'm gonna make some tweaks. So these are all the same, and I can maybe copy these down. So let me see how this part sounds. Oh, it's right here. There we go. So you see what I did there? It's just a bit of MIDI trickery. MIDI Ableton is so good for the MIDI stuff. So now I'm gonna kind of do the same stuff here. Just duplicate. Okay. And now I'm going to just select all this, fudge. And gonna go up. And I'm gonna just start covering what I did previously. Maybe it would help if I zoomed in a bit. So like that. So this is just gonna be the first thing I do to start creating a build. I'll probably still change the pattern that's playing on the synths right now. I feel like I'm gonna change that later on, and that's okay that I know it. It's just in my mind now, it's just a placeholder. So I know something's gonna go there, but I need I want to keep moving on, because if I keep trying to fix it forever, then I'm not going to get the rest of the track done. So I'm just using a placeholder, and I can go back to that later on, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with having a placeholder, because I know I'll tweak it. So it's a bit loud. And I hear the claps, so the claps might need to go faster because of what's being played down here. So I'm gonna kind of make this a little pattern. Or maybe I could drop these claps into a simpler and just copy the MIDI as well. That'd be a lot easier. This has like a shitty bass sound to it, so that's like a fart sound, so I need to give it some more space to be defined. Okay, so I'm going to use a few more elements to kind of build this up. So I'm going to press Command T, give me an audio track, and I'm going to go, actually not audio track, I want to bring in a riser. So I'm going to go back to Silent. Let me get rid of this. Back to Silent here. Oh, default presets, I didn't know that. I'm going to go to, I'm just going to open up a riser that I've made before. Let me see. So I have a few I could choose from. Riser. I like the detuned ones. If you guys didn't know this, because I have so many risers, I'm making a big riser silent pack that I'm going to sell with Ableton Live Text. I'm thinking about doing like 50 or so different really cool EDM risers, and maybe I'll turn that into like its own silent pack. So, you know, that'll just come included into a really big pack. But we'll see. So now I'm just gonna select all this, create another MIDI zone, so just like that. And I'm gonna play, what key is this in? A. Okay, so I forgot what key I was in. So I'm just gonna drop in an A1. I'm just gonna press Shift and right arrow key to drag that out like that. And now I'm gonna give that a listen after I lower this volume. That's good. I like that. And I'm gonna have my MIDI stuff now get much quicker. So let me see what let's see. I need to zoom in a bit more. So I'm gonna make a cut like this. And I'm gonna listen to it. Okay, so that's what I want. And I'm just gonna play that because I want to give it that like looping sound that you would kind of hear when you're DJing something, like there's a loop effect. I'm kind of going for that. Okay. And let me see, let me go back to this group, and I'm going to drop this here. I'm going to reverse it, so I double clicked on that sample, and I'm just going to press reverse. And now that I can put a melody there, or I could go straight for a drop, but I think 30 seconds into a song is too quick for a drop. A lot of producers might or might not do that. It's really up to how fast you want the song's pacing to go. I like to kind of be a little bit more progressive and have my drop come in around a minute or a minute 30. And that's because I'm working, again, with 8-bar segments. So my intro, this is all my intro. It's a 16-bar segment, but I divide it into 8. So the first 8 bars is like the intro to the intro, and then the last 8 bars is like the build out of the intro. So I kind of build transitions in 8 or 4 bars. So let me kind of listen to everything. I like to just give myself a lot of listens over and over and get ideas. Let me just kind of select all this, press Command J, drag it down here. I'm gonna just throw my sub in right now, so I'm gonna press this. Okay, so my sub is now playing at a C3. Okay, so like I said earlier, I'm not completely happy with the intro. It's really a placeholder. I'm gonna go back to it later once I've made more synthesizers for the drop and the verse. Maybe I'll use those synthesizers to create a better intro, but this is just sort of my placeholder. So I'm gonna end the video right here because it's an hour long. Usually these parts are gonna be half an hour long. These each day is gonna be half an hour long. Each video, I mean. So the only reason why this one's an hour long is because yesterday, with all that happened with the Ustream one, I'm just kind of compensating for both of those days. This is kind of going a little bit slower because I'm talking and kind of trying to give you guys some advice while I'm doing this. So please like, subscribe. I know this series is not going to be for everyone. It takes a lot of patience to kind of watch someone work slowly, or to work at all. Every time I'm watching someone else work, I always feel like, move over, just let me do it real quick. So this is definitely not for people that have short patience, but if you're still listening, then I thank you for that. So, later, you guys.